Yeah, I was just at work one day and got this phone call from this New Zealand number, and I was like, "Oh fuck, some scammer's trying to get me." So I let it ring out, and then got the voicemail there. He's like, "Hey mate, it's Andrew McFadden from the One New Zealand Warriors. You mind giving me a call back?" I was like, "Oh shit."
Hey team, welcome back into the Warriorholic. Got another session of the man behind the warrior, and as you can see, I'm proud to welcome in our first representative from the Western Island, young gun, next gen superstar in the making, Mr. Ben Farr. Welcome in, brother.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Mate, you must be feeling a lot of nerves here, being the first representative of Australia on this famous podcast.
Yeah, no, it's pretty exciting.
Mate, I hope you can actually understand real, proper English. Feel free to stop me at any stage if you don't understand.
I'll try my best, mate. I'll try my best.
Hey, mate, do you have a nickname at all? What do the boys call you at footy?
Nothing really. Yeah, sort of. Couple just like nicknames to take the piss. I get Red a lot. Red. Then I get Bluey. Bluey's another one.
Not Dover?
No, never Dover actually. Surprisingly, but yeah, just those two. Red or Bluey.
There you go, mate. Yeah, I've always wondered why the bloody Aussies call the redheads blue.
Well, no, it's a bit backwards, eh?
Oh, mate. It's probably because you're always getting in a punch up because you're fighting all the hot kills off.
Probably.
Anyway, mate, so I thought it'd be a great chance. You started to come into everyone's sort of line of vision last year with the way you went in Cup. So the promotion into the development contract this year. So hoping we'll see a lot more of you. So for those who maybe don't know too much about you, we'd get you on and have a bit of a chat about where you came from and your road to the Warriors there. So we'll sort of spend the first half digging into the secret stories behind Mr. Ben Farr.
Sweet.
I'll warn you in advance, I had a chat to your mum and she gave me a few interesting...
Oh, Jesus, yeah, fire out.
Nah,
this could be
she's a good fan, mate. I think I'm pretty sure your mum's given me a couple of insights in the comments there. So
yeah, she would have.
Mate, it's great to have them behind you.
Yeah, for sure.
So whereabouts did you grow up?
So I was born in Longreach, just in central West Queensland there. So I lived there for 12 years and then moved over to Rockhampton for high school. So I was there for about 5 years. And then, I was sort of just there, my hometown, I guess.
Whereabouts are they? I mean, like a person like most Kiwis, the Gold Coast and Brisbane airport.
So Longreach is it's pretty much smack bang in the middle of Queensland. Like if you looked at the map, it's like a little triangle. Queensland there, it's right in the middle. And then Rocky's a little bit, it's more east on the coast there, a little bit south, a little bit east. It's pretty much in the middle as well, just on the coast. So that's sort of how I explain it to most people. Can't really,
So going back to your early days, I guess they call it primary school over there as well.
Yeah.
Like, when you sort of, before you hit the tens and go to intermediate or whatever you guys call it. What sort of kid were you growing up with?
Oh, I was a pretty shit kid, I was a pretty shit kid. I remember in in prep we called it, or preschool or whatever it is. I was always getting sent to the principal's office, and I was a bit hard to tame at that time. But it's weird. I was a shit kid then. I was really really out there, and when I grew up, I was sort of a little bit more reserved and was scared to get in trouble.
Really?
So it's a bit of a turnaround from that point, but yeah.
Mate, I was pretty consistent. I was a rat bag from day one right the way through till I decided school wasn't for me at 16 years old.
Yeah.
So what did you get into when you were a kid, when you're hanging out with your mates or your brothers and stuff? Was it a pretty rural town there, or you?
Yeah, it's very rural. I think the population is maybe only like 4,000-ish.
Damn.
Something like that. It might be less, but yeah, if I wasn't, doing school and there was not much else to do, or just go to the park and play footy with my mates or in the backyard with my brothers, and got into a couple of dust ups with my brothers back in the day. But yeah.
How many brothers did you have?
I've got at that point I had 2. So it was just the 3 of us and mum and dad. And then ended up a sister come along, and then when just before we moved to Rocky, we had another younger brother. So 3 brothers all up and a younger sister.
So whereabouts did you fit amongst the brothers when you were growing up there at primary school?
So yeah, I'm second oldest. Um, and you probably look at my brothers and you look at me and it's like it's a bit like a different body type. Like they must have like taken all the food or something. Like I'm just like a little skinny runt and they're like pretty big, pretty built. So yeah, it's pretty funny. They're both um, wingers and
Oh,
centre.
really?
Yeah, and I'm the only one that broke the mold. So
So you didn't give out too many beatings to the younger one then?
no, I was mostly the one getting beaten.
Right.
But I tried. I tried.
Oh, well, that's probably why you're such a tough little player for your size, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, probably.
So did you play any other sports growing up, or you're pretty much all footy?
Yeah, when I was 12, I ended up getting into touch footy. Um, and that was sort of yeah, my two main sports was touch footy and rugby league. Um, when I moved to Rocky, I was lucky enough to start making some rep teams with touch footy. Ended up um, making Queensland schoolboys and all that sort of shit, and ended up making my way into a Aussie squad, which was pretty exciting. But
Oh,
yeah, had to sort of give that up in pursuit of my footy career, I guess. But yeah, I think if I hadn't have played touch footy, I reckon I probably wouldn't be the same player I am today. Like it helped me massively with like ball skills and vision, and that's something and like can't really stress enough. Like if you're a young half or even just a young footy player, like getting into touch is probably only going to help your game
yeah,
in the long
mate.
run. So
Did all right for SJ.
yeah, definitely.
What position did you play, like in your junior footies? I heard you've played quite a few different positions over the
Yeah,
years.
I was throwing around the ground a bit. So I started playing like senior footy, or I guess international footy, playing that hooker. Played dummy half for pretty much all my schoolboys, and then ended up moving into the halves. The year I graduated, I went to Penrith and played SG ball in the halves there, and then I ended up moving to Winner Manly, and yeah, moved into fullback, and that's sort of, I guess, been just my position from then on. And but yeah, I'm not really opposed to playing anywhere really. Like I think last year Cup, I played every game in the back, so bit of
What was your main position last year? I thought you were played quite a bit there at 5'8".
yeah 5'8" was my main position. Sort of locked that in for the year, but yeah, I was a bit expandable last year. If Slato needed a centre, I'd jump in centre. I played a couple of games at wing, a couple of games at fullback. So yeah, I was everywhere. I was happy to do that.
It was interesting because, like, I obviously saw you start out there at 5'8", didn't know who you were, and thought, oh, man, this
Yeah.
guy's not really that big.
Mm.
But as I watched you progress and playing in the different positions, I thought one thing that really stood out was, a real calm head. You don't seem to be
Yeah.
overwhelmed in the game there, and the speed. I went back and watched the highlights of that game. Which grade was it you guys won the title at Manly? Was that the
That
21s?
was the 21s. Yeah. The
Yeah.
Colts.
I was astounded how quick you were when you got a bit of space at the back there. How do you go up against Luke Metcalf?
He's pretty quick. I don't know. We haven't had a race, but I reckon he's probably got me.
Yeah, but you'd
I reckon
be
he
one
got
of the
me.
faster boys in the cup team, wouldn't you?
Yeah. I don't really know. Like, haven't really
It's funny,
been able
no
to
one
gauge
wants
it.
to commit to this,
Yeah.
right?
No,
I
it
know you
does.
guys just don't want to sit down and go 100 and then, have to admit you lost,
Yeah,
bro.
100%. I'll go to training the next morning and the boys will be in me. Oh, you think you're quick, eh? I was like, oh, fuck. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's amazing how humble guys. I even tried to get Jazz to tell me who he reckoned was quicker or the quickest in the NRL squad because everyone reckons it was Metcalf, but he still put his money on Dallin. So
Did
I'd be
he? Actually,
curious.
Dallin
Yeah,
he's pretty fucking quick.
he's like me. He's got those short legs and he doesn't look like
Yeah.
he's going that quick. But I
Oh,
think
mate.
they had his
Lightning.
top speed. I think he was like fourth in the NRL in
Yeah.
2022.
Oh, he's lightning. He's lightning. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
mate. So, like, if you were going to say this is my position, if I was going to specialise going forward, where would you say you're best at?
I don't know. It's a bit of a tough one because I sort of find like in every position I've definitely got some like big things that I need to work on, some like key things. So I haven't really thought of myself as being a just one single position. Um, but I'd say if I wanted to progress, like just in the one position, I probably would be fullback. I just sort of like the running game, and I think that suits me in the way I play. But yeah, like I said,
Not keen to get back into the 9 jersey against the big
no,
boys.
no,
Eh?
God no, I don't like getting back into the washing machine there in the middle. It's the lungs can't really take it. So
Yeah, mate. I don't really have the fitness build side of it, but I think if I'd ever play, I was a union player growing up.
oh yeah,
And league really took off when I was sort of in high school, but by then it's like, mate, I never really made the switch. But I would have loved to have given hooker a go
yeah,
because I've been -70 and like just about as
yeah,
wide and been able to
yeah,
kick and pass. I think I would have been built for that, but
yeah,
fitness wise, I don't know so much, mate. Those
yeah. No,
guys are
that's the thing.
40,
Hookers,
50
yeah.
tackles. It's like,
It's fun until you start getting the wind knocked out of you. Then it's like, oh fuck, get me off.
oh, I can imagine get that young fella coming in from the Broncos at 2 meters 5, man.
Oh yeah, nah.
He'd high him in the kneecaps.
Yeah, literally, just grass cutters.
So, like, it's an interesting. Like, you've been a bit of here, there, and everywhere. So, when was it you really sort of just started to feel like actually you might have a bit of an opportunity to play pro footy here?
It probably was that year when we won the Colts in 2021. I was sort of coming off a year in Penrith where I sort of lost a little bit of confidence and didn't really think that footy was going to be for me. Just yeah, wasn't there mentally, and then ended up going to Wynnum, and the coaching staff there were unreal with Dobbo and Brian. Yeah, sort of found my feet at fullback and strung a couple of good games together and thought, well, hang on, I might be able to make something here, and yeah, just went off and kept trying to, I guess, perfect my craft, and didn't get any offers that year, unfortunately, but I sort of still had that hope and that belief, and ended up that next year still playing some pretty good footy, and yeah, went off to Sunny Coast after that. Signed 2 years there with the idea that I was going to get a Melbourne pre-season, and then yeah, ended up getting a call from Andrew McFadden, and yeah, never looked back. So
How did that come about? Was it just something out of the blue, or did you
yeah, it
manage
was.
it?
No, it was definitely random. It was yeah, I was just at work one day and got this phone call from this New Zealand number, and I was like, oh fuck, some scammers trying to get me, eh? So I let it ring out, and then got the voicemail there. He's like, hey mate, it's Andrew McFadden from the One New Zealand Warriors. You mind giving me a call back? I was like, oh shit. Fuck, what's going on here?
Why didn't I answer? Why didn't I answer? What if he
Yeah,
doesn't answer? I call back.
I shit myself. I was like, fuck, do I call him? Like, what do I do? So yeah, ended up calling him back, and yeah, gave me the rundown. Said he was yeah, really keen to get me over, and I was sort of shit myself. I was like, I'll just speak to the manager, and I'll try and get back to you. And he's like, yeah, no, sweet. I was like, fuck, what am I gonna do, eh? Like, New Zealand's a big move, like. But yeah, no, it was pretty cool to, I guess, feel wanted by a club,
Yeah.
and have that phone call, and yeah, as soon as we got the details of contract, I was like, yeah, fucking oath.
Was that when was that? Like sort of towards the end of 2022, or?
So that was, it was literally a week before the first Tiger trial last year.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it was.
So you missed all of the pre-season.
Yeah. Skipped the whole preseason. Felt a bit bad, coming in, and all the boys were just slogging it out, and I'm like, fuck, just getting thrown straight to the trial. But yeah, on the Friday I got the phone call, and on the Monday I was on the plane. So,
shit, that's
yeah,
serious.
Yeah,
Damn, that's interesting.
Yeah, didn't even wasn't even able to get home and see mum and dad. Just had to call them and say, look, I'm off.
How were they about the whole thing?
Yeah, well, they were pretty stoked. It was pretty cool to call dad and let him know he's getting a bit emotional on the phone, but yeah, it was a pretty cool moment.
It must have been. Had you been to New Zealand before that?
I have, yeah, on a touch camp.
Oh yeah,
I came for like maybe a week in Auckland too, so I sort of yeah.
Right. I kind of know the feeling because when I first went to Japan, I literally had a call from a guy I went to school with. He said, "Do you want to come over?" And I was like, "To do what?" And teach English. I said, "I can't do that." And he said, "Oh, it pays $100 an hour," when I was earning $5. And I said, "Yeah, okay."
Jesus
And I just
Christ.
went a week later, and I was 21 at the time, and it was just a big adventure. And I think some people just see it as that, whereas other guys like being away from the family and stuff, it really gets them. Do you feel
for
like
sure.
you adjusted pretty quickly to their lifestyle? You seem like you're loving it.
Yeah, I did. I'd been away from home like for a while, so I sort of knew how to sort of, I guess, adjust and get settled into a place quick, like moving from club to club, sort of learn a few things, and I never really got homesick all through last year. I was pretty happy with the decision that I made, and there were always going to be some thoughts of like, oh shit, is this going to be worth it, or am I going to actually enjoy this? But yeah, as soon as I moved over and started getting to know the boys, I'd never look back, and I've enjoyed my time ever
Did they
since.
put
So.
you into one of those Warriors houses to start, or
Yeah,
they chuck you
yeah,
in a
yeah. I
motel?
was straight in the Warriors house with Tanner actually, Tanner
Nice.
and two other boys. And yeah, it was nice. It was a mean house, free dinners, so can't complain.
Yeah. Who's doing the cooking these days?
These days we split the cooking. He cooks his own, I cook my own. So I don't want to eat his food. He doesn't want to eat mine. So
Is that right? Are you on those things like Jazz, mate, promoting those like
the
pre-cooked meals?
yeah, the HelloFresh. I was on the HelloFresh, but I'm only making crumbs, so I can't really afford it at the moment. So
Mate, it's funny because I think a lot of people see these guys are playing for a professional footy club, so they're assuming you're on a cup 100 grand, and
yeah,
they don't realise on those cup contracts and stuff, it's
yeah,
hard work.
it's not there. Yeah, it's good though. It's good, but yeah, it's not all that's hyped up with it.
Mate, another couple of years, bro, we'll get those big contracts in.
Yeah, hopefully.
So what do you? We'll touch a little bit on the 2023 season. I guess coming straight in there, didn't know anyone. How did you find the difference? Like, what are some of the biggest differences you noticed about the Warriors setup compared to like you'd been in the Panthers system and the Q Cup teams?
Oh, I think like the main one, like it's obviously a lot more professional, and they have a lot of things to help in terms of like nutrition and getting your body weight right, and recovery. Recovery is probably one of the biggest ones. But yeah, it's just a whole different ball game. That step up from Queensland Cup to like an NRL system. It was pretty crazy to experience.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's you wouldn't have any clue what it was like before we got there, but it sounds like it's light and day there, and the systems they've got in place and the structure of the coaching seems second to none. So hopefully you came at just the right time to jump on the back of that. So when you got over here, what was the plan? Was it initially you coming over for Cup, I guess, or?
Yeah, that was pretty much it. I sort of didn't really think too much ahead from just playing Cup. I obviously knew like I didn't really get the preseason, so my goals was just pretty much play some consistent footy in Cup, and just get to the next preseason, and try and get my foot in the door there. So I thought didn't go too bad last year. Probably some couple games I'd like to take back, but I'm pretty happy with the experience.
So when did you got on a development contract now? Yep.
Yeah.
When did that come through?
That so the plan was training trial last year and then development this year, but I ended up getting upgraded a couple of weeks into last year. So just I think maybe like 2 weeks into the season, ended up getting upgraded. So that was pretty nice.
That's nice to sort of see that there was a pretty instant recognition of the potential there.
Yeah, it did feel pretty good.
So then you played with some sort of an interesting mix last year. We had some of the SG Ball boys come up, then you had the young Cup guys, and then you had some of the more experienced boys, and then the real hearty veterans like James Gavitt. Who were some of the players you played with that sort of influenced you a lot last season?
Honestly, probably only played a handful of games with him, but Braden Williami was probably a big influence for me. He's now assistant coach at Cup, which is good. Keeping him around, but yeah, he was really good for me on the mental side of things. Like he was sort of in the same position when he was about my age, moving away from home, and just the kind of person that he is was the same person that I am right now, just a little bit like anxious, and the whole footy scene gets to you sometimes, and yeah, he was really good for me in terms of like a mental health space, and also with the like footy smarts. Like he was unreal.
Yeah, I mean, it really helps having a mentor who's someone who's been there and done that, rather than someone who's doing it just through theory.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's a bit of a shame, because I remember when he first signed, everyone was like, "Oh, he'll just be like a cup of depth signing." Then all of a sudden, he made that game against the Knights in round 1, and everyone's like, "Whoa, shit, this guy's good." He just seemed to have so much time. He was calm. He had all the skills. And it's just such a shame, like those injuries ended up holding him back, because I think he was offering a lot more than people realised.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
So then you go, through that year. I think first year back after COVID, you can't expect too much, but I think we showed some really good signs that year that maybe you guys are a little bit disappointed that you didn't go further, but it's built a good base going into 2024. And you head into the first full-on preseason under Webby. How was that?
Yeah, shit myself. I was genuinely shit myself. It was my first NRL preseason, so I didn't really know what to expect.
Yeah.
But no, it was really good, eh? Like, I think coming out of this preseason, I definitely am a different player. A lot more confidence. It was pretty cool. Like, just all the detail that Webby puts into his training, and it obviously shows on the field.
Had you had much to do with him last year?
Oh, a little bit here and there, just around the grounds, like your normal sort of training.
Yeah.
But yeah, nothing too crazy.
Well, what's making you shit yourself? Was it just the how intense it was going to be, or being around those superstars, or what?
It was just like the training load. Really, I hate running. So
but you're like a slim fullback, man. Imagine how the props feel, bro.
I know. Well, that's what I was telling myself before every training session was like, oh, you're not going to be like feeling the worst. There's definitely blokes out there feeling worse, but yeah, it was it was more like the I guess the intensity of the training sessions, and like, am I going to be adapting well to this this training load? And yeah, I thought I went all right, I guess. I was pretty surprised with myself.
Was there anything about the actual approach, the way they, did? Obviously, like every preseason for every club is like, nuts hanging on the ground, kind of difficult. But the way Webby went about it, is it different than you've sort of done a preseason fitness-based training before?
Yeah, definitely. It's a lot more, fundamentals under pressure and fatigue, which like needs to hold up. Like, those fundamentals need to hold up when you're under the pump in a game, and it was a lot of training in terms of like that sort of stuff, and it's translating into like the bigger drills, which is like being shown at training. So it's been pretty cool.
I ask everyone this, like everyone mentions Webby's very detailed. How overwhelming has it been to kind of learn all the systems and, the details that he's going into?
He as detailed as he is, he likes to keep it simple as well, which has been really good. Like nothing's really too crazy. Like he likes to simplify it as much as he can, and just to make sure everyone's on board and everyone knows what they're doing, and it helps everyone from the wingers to the forwards. Everyone knows what's going on. So,
what do they call those little groups? Like your each group is like a pod or something, has their own specific trainer. What do they call that? Is it a group or a pod?
Couldn't tell. I can't even. Yeah.
Who's your coach for your one?
So we've got we've got David, Big Wave Dave. He's our cup coach. He just sort of takes all us young boys, and then you got Richard Agar with the backs and Slade Griffin with the forwards. So
what's Dave like? His first year coming into the club?
Yeah, he's a really good bloke. I think he's a Gold Coast boy, and yeah, all the boys get around him, and yeah, he's a really happy bloke. When you speak to him, he's yeah, never got a bad thing to say. So he's pretty cool.
One thing I found is like from the very first time I heard Webby talk, he's very clear, concise, down to earth, very consistent in his communication. But then when you hear other guys like Slade and Richie and Stacey, they're all very similar. That, you know, I won't get into names, but coaches in the past at the Warriors, I'd listen to the presser and they'd speak for 5 minutes without actually saying anything.
Yeah.
You know, and whereas I feel like, and I don't know whether that was a Simmons like Desmond. It's like, oh, surely he's not like that with his players when they fall asleep. But I get the impression that Webby is the same, whether he's at the pub, whether he's at training, or whether he's on a presser. That's what I like about him. Is it something you feel that?
Yeah. He doesn't sort of shy away from his personality. He's likes to keep things calm and lighthearted and fun, and yeah, it's the same at training. Like,
does it even get pushed to the limit where you think, oh, he might actually lose his rag? Or
he does sometimes, but it's never like overboard. It's more just like he's disappointed. Like, you don't feel like he's angry. He just feels like he's disappointed, and you're like, oh fuck.
But I don't know about you, mate, but when I was a kid, it was my parents weren't, you know, the smack me ones or the scream and shout. My mum would just look at me with this really sad look of disappointment. You really disappoint me. And that hurt me. I'd much rather she strapped me or hit me with a cane or something because it's gone. Is that how you feel with Webby?
Yeah, 100%. Like, you don't want to disappoint him. Like, obviously with us young boys, like, we want to get in that team. So every time you feel like you've disappointed him, you feel like you've let your dad down or something, like, it's pretty it's pretty funny.
Similar with Tohu, I guess, you know, because he's not obviously no guy screaming and shouting, is he?
Yeah, no, he's the same, real cool, calm, collected, and yeah.
That's mean. Yes, it's been really interesting to see how quickly we've gone from, you know, during that COVID period with no junior teams, and you know, you kind of wonder, what if this guy falls down? Who's going to replace him? To now we're kind of at the stage. And we haven't even had Flegg get started yet. Yeah. There's just so much depth there, and there's so much exciting talent. You know, it just must be a buzz around that place. And what I wouldn't give to actually be a fly in the wall when Webby and Cappy have their, you know, succession planning discussions.
Yeah, definitely.
Because all the fans have got their opinion, but we don't get to see everything. So, you know, I've tried so hard to kind of break the games down over this last year of doing this. You know, watching without the emotion the second time to identify the little hidden things that we don't normally notice. But I know there'll still be like another 60% on top of that they're looking for. I've always said to guys, like, I'd love to sit down and watch a game with you, like on replay, and have you tell me what Webby would be telling you that he's seeing in the game. It'd be so educational. I've got a couple of other questions here from the fans that I put out. If you wouldn't mind, I thought I always just to try and hide these and surprise people. But now it's a good chance to get people to ask their questions in advance so they can actually do it. So I have to say, first off the start lines there was none other than the president of the Ronald Volkman fan club, Mr. Sione Tuigamala. I'm not sure who that guy really is, but internet infamous. He wants to know who the biggest pest is in the squad training over the preseason.
Biggest pest? That would be a dead heat tie with Tane Tuolpiki and Freddie Lussick, I reckon.
Yeah, Tane looks like he likes to wind people up.
Yeah, he loves it. He loves it.
Yeah, he's got that. Even though he's not a half, he looks like he's that little half. So I guess it's the same with Freddie.
He's like a little fly on his shoulder. You just can't get rid of him.
Yeah, mate. And he asked, and this is a difficult one for people to answer, I guess, but who's your favourite teammate?
My favourite teammate? I don't know, He's gone. It was probably Ronnie Volkman.
Oh, is that right? Oh, he'd love to hear that.
It's a safe answer. It's a safe answer.
Yeah, mate. I thought you're going to have to say your flatmate, mate. Otherwise, you know.
Nah, he sucks. He's tinking.
But you're the one who's driving, so you don't have to worry about getting the lift, I guess.
For sure.
How do you find driving in Auckland, bro? That'd be a bit different to Central
Nah,
Queensland.
it's sweet, eh? Like the traffic sucks. Traffic is horrible. But yeah, nah, I sort of didn't find it too bad. So
Yeah, bro. I mean, I was up there a couple of weeks ago. Luckily, it was during the holidays. But I mean, I used to
yeah,
hate Auckland with a passion.
yeah,
But now I quite like it. It feels like if you go, depending on the parts you're going, like if you go around Mission Bay and the like,
yeah,
and you go to Sylvia Park, you almost feel like you're on the Goldie or something these
yeah, for
days.
sure. It's yeah, it's a little bit like Brizzy. I thought when I first moved, it's just a little bit more like calm and relaxed.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I could imagine living up there if I win one of those mega Powerballs. I would probably need it. Next one we've got here is from a guy, Tony Soprano. He's a Kiwi guy up over there in Perth in the mines.
yeah,
He's a big fan of yours. He'd like to know your goal for 2024.
my goal. Obviously, big goals to get that debut jumper, but um, I think for me, it's probably just trying to build off my 2023 season and yeah, add some more strings to my bow and yeah, hopefully get in the eyesight of Webby at some point. So
Well, have you got any indication where you're going to be playing in Cup this year?
no, not really. I think maybe probably more of a utility role. I'm sort of guessing. Yeah, maybe a 14 off the bench
Do you
if I
like
had to guess.
halfback?
So I don't mind it. But if I had my way, I probably wouldn't.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's
I was trying to figure out where they go after Ronnie left, and
yeah,
just like I said, you're calm head, you've got all the ball skills. I haven't really seen much of your kicking game, but I thought,
yeah,
this guy might be one of those players who develops into a good halfback in the back half of
yeah,
his career.
yeah. I think maybe later on down the track, once I get a bit more game experience and yeah, maybe that might be an option. But at the moment, I'm pretty happy with where I'm at now.
Mean. All right, next one from a fella called Michael Pairama. He'd like to know, as a young player growing up, who was your inspiration and why was it Mark Tukey?
Honestly, when I was younger, it's a bit of a it's not like your average answer, but when I was younger, Matt Schreimer, played for the Titans. When I was playing hooker, I was sort of someone I looked up to who's just small, bit like me. Played above his weight. But yeah, as I grew older, I sort of started looking a bit to Dan Lockyer and how he used to play, and his transition from fullback to 5'8". Sort of yeah, he was one of the big inspirations for me. So
Who was your NRL club when you were growing up?
honestly, had a different club every year when I was younger. It was one of those ones like I'd pick a team, they'd come last, and I go, oh fuck, I was pick another team, and then that team would come
Random.
last, and I was like, oh fuck, like I just gave up.
But before the Warriors, I was like, I thought I was a Tigers fan because they wear the same jerseys as Upper Hutt Tigers where I come from, and we had a
Yeah,
few Kiwis in that club that were pretty good back in the day. But then once Ciro and Blocker and those guys started to retire, I realised I followed players. So I
yeah,
kind of went to the Knights and went to Manly,
yeah,
and every other sporting franchise or franchise sport across any sport, I've realised I follow players, not teams,
players. Yeah, for
except the
sure.
Warriors. They're the only
Yeah,
team that I have no idea where I've never thought about patching off them.
yeah, right.
Even I'm in Wellington. If they put an NRL club here, I couldn't
Still, yeah,
couldn't patch
right.
over.
Oh,
Don't
there
know
you
what
go.
it is, mate. It's I don't know, maybe kind of similar to Red Bull. They found that
Yeah,
little ingredient to get you addicted.
probably.
Next up, I'm not sure how you say this, being a dyslexic man myself. I think it might be Macepers, Masepers, Macepers. How are you feeling about the fact there's so much competition in the positions that you play at the club? Is it something that you find motivational? Is it something that makes you a bit nervy about the future?
I think yeah, it's a bit of a mix. Like you sort of look at who's in front of you and you think like the quality of players that they are. Like, am I going to get that chance to play? But at the same time, I sort of see it as a lot of people that I can learn off and just be a sponge and soak up all that experience. Like, yeah, it's been pretty cool just to watch all those boys at training and see how they move and their thought processes behind everything. And yeah, just trying to, I guess, um, you know, pick their brains a bit and help my game So yeah.
Because I mean, the depth is interesting, right? We've got that group of guys who would walk into any NRL starting lineup, and you've got those guys who definitely make a top 30 in any club.
Yeah.
And then we've kind of got this group below them are not quite, regular NRL starters, but shit, they're so close.
Yeah.
And there's so many of them.
Yeah.
Just even looking at the fullbacks, that young fella in SG Ball, is it Pussy Colour, the fullback?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Mate, I saw his game against Parramatta.
Yeah.
Mate, gun.
Good.
You've got Tane, you've got yourself there.
Yeah.
I think wasn't Ali Leotoa originally a fullback as well?
Yeah, apparently. I've been told. But yeah.
Yeah, and I think Patrick Moy might have played a bit of fullback. There's a couple of them I
right.
remember. Then you've got Setu too there. I really rate him.
Yeah, very capable.
So, like, shit, it's nice from a fan's perspective, but emotionally preparing myself for the likes of Ronnie, who I genuinely believe was an option for our long-term halfback role, to all of a sudden he's gone, to start losing some of these young guys as you've got to chase opportunities.
Yeah.
But I do hope you stick it out, because I think it's guys like yourself and Chanel having that ability to cover so many positions is a great asset when you look at not wanting to carry back reserves. So
yeah, definitely.
Next one we've got here from Peter Ann Bailey. I think you've got kind of answered this one already, but the player who's had the biggest impact on you since you've come to the Warriors. Anyone else other than Braden?
I think there's definitely been a lot.
Anyone stood out over the pre-season this year that sort of you've learned a lot of?
Probably Roger. Roger's a lot. He's just really game smart. Obviously he's been there before and he knows what he's doing. Probably Chance as well, sort of helping me out with my fullback skills and whatnot. Those two have probably been a massive help. Just trying to pick their brains and Tane as well. So just those sort of three. I like to try and pick their brains. And
another one I had there, I can't remember who it was, but I was also thinking to ask myself is, who's been really carving it up there in the pre-season? You're thinking, damn, I didn't realise how good this fella is.
Probably Paddy Moy. Like, didn't really see much of him last year. Only sort of played a couple of games of cup and was injured a lot last year, and he's come through and he's actually been having a really good pre-season. Like, I probably wouldn't be surprised if he found his way into a jersey at some point. But yeah, he's been
he's a beast, isn't he?
Good. Yeah,
those arms, man. He must be up there with the props and stuff on the weights, is he?
Sucks trying to tackle him. He's actually he's a granite. Like, he's a rock with legs. It's disgusting.
He's an interesting one, because I think he's fallen or sort of drifted under the radar for people who didn't actually watch SG Ball last year and Cup. I'd seen him right from the beginning there, and the first thing that popped to my mind is Joey Leilua, but much more consistent.
Yeah.
When Joey Leilua was like one of the top centres in the comp there, I thought, and so all the talk was about Ali after that debut against the Raiders, but I thought, this young fella, and I'm a huge Rocco Berry fan as well.
Yeah.
I'm one of his big fanboys, and obviously with Adam Pompey as well. I'm one of his biggest supporters, and we've gone from the Warriors every year. It's like, why don't we recruit more hookers and why don't we have more centres? To now, there's probably 6 to 7 centres that we're going to have probably some of the best players in Cup this year.
Yeah, for sure. I reckon.
I'm glad you said that. Actually, let him know I'm a big fan of Patrick's.
Definitely.
Tell him we'd love to get him on the show someday.
Yeah, for sure.
And NRL, Warriors NRL fanatics asked, what was your very first junior club?
My very first junior club was the Longreach Thompson Tigers.
That's a long name.
Yes, it is a very long
Tigers, name. Man. We're up at Tigers.
Yep.
That must be why we connect. And what was your very first position when you debuted from there?
From there, Jesus, a long time ago. I think it might have been hooker. Or something, yeah.
Oh, yeah, good man. If you're struggling to remember, imagine how I feel, mate. I'm twice your age. Probably, and then some. All righty, mate. Last question from me. What are the chances we're going to see young Ben Farr turn up against the Tigers on the weekend?
Yeah, I think I'll be in there. I think I'm
Good
playing.
man.
Not sure where yet, but yeah, I'll be there. So
Mate, smash it up. Just trust those wheels, mate. Got
yeah,
to
try
show
to.
Webby how fast you are.
Yeah,
Honestly,
definitely.
the difference I saw in your skill ability when you played in that fullback game when I watched that final when you played on a broken ankle
Mm,
versus when you're a little bit more tied up in there in the cup. Yeah, you definitely showed your skill. So hope you
yeah,
get a bit of a run at the back there, and hope
hopefully.
Tane doesn't trip you up getting off the bus.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, hopefully.
All right, man. Thank you so much for your time today. I'd love to get you back on. You've
Absolutely.
been bloody entertaining. So you've got
All good.
a career in the media ahead of you, I reckon, if you stick at this.
Fingers crossed, eh?
All right. Cheers, my man. Thanks very much.
Sweet
We'll see
as.
you next time.
All good. Thank you.